Coming up on tonight's edition of Carolina News, food stamps will pause in November. Hear how Governor McMaster and local nonprofits are partnering to combat hunger statewide. Next, students react to flooding and constant alarms at their apartment complex.
Squeegee it out.
Later, what is the heat island effect?
We will have distributed 1,600 trees.
And how could planting trees help with temperature control in Columbia?
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Abby Tam.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chloe Finley.
SNAP benefits will be cut for November, and many South Carolinians will be without food in just 4 days. Today, Governor McMaster proposed a solution to help feed those who are being affected. Our Jarrett Wright is live at the State House with more.
Thanks, guys. At 10:30 this morning, Governor Henry McMaster held a press conference where he invited the CEOs of some of South Carolina's largest food banks to announce the reactivation of the 1SC Fund. The 1SC Fund is an emergency response fund operated by the Central Carolina Community Foundation that provides mutual aid to people across the state. The CEOs of South Carolina's major food banks took the podium to call for the people of South Carolina to step up and help each other.
We need people to step up and give in ways that they have never given before. This isn't a light switch I can flip on tomorrow and fill up all 3 of my warehouses to address the 550,000 people that are going to be needing assistance in about a week's time.
The fund has been reactivated due to the ongoing government shutdown and loss of SNAP. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program is a federal program that provides food assistance to Americans in every state, with the loss of food assistance directly affecting families and the elderly.
1 in 7 people in South Carolina, and that includes 1 in 5 children, live in food insecure households.
The federal government's funding for SNAP will stop on the 1st of the month. Until then, food banks across the state are preparing to tackle the problem.
Very similar, like 6 videos in a row, and I was like, oh.
Please consider searching 1SC Fund. Live at the State House in the rain, for Carolina News, I'm Jarrett Wright.
Justin, Hurricane Melissa has made landfall in Jamaica as a 185 mile per hour Category 5 storm. The storm comes in as one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes in history and responsible for 7 deaths so far. 3 in Jamaica during storm preparations, 3 in Haiti, and 1 in the Dominican Republic. Though we're not feeling the effects of Melissa in Columbia, DeSoto City is still getting its fair share of rain.
Sammy Vassallo is live in the Weather Center. What's it looking like, Sammy?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's pretty rainy out today, as well as a lot of wind and cooler temperatures. We saw a high of 55 degrees earlier today, and right now it is 54 degrees, and we're going to see a low of 50 degrees after the sun sets. Like I said, it's been pretty windy. We saw winds of around 12 miles per hour coming out of the northeast, and it has also been pretty rainy. You can see how wet it is behind me. There was a 50% chance of rain throughout the day, but I'll have more on specific chances of rain tonight later in the show, and also your Halloween forecast, so you're going to want to stick around. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Sammy. An Orangeburg County jury ruled the NCAA owes a former South Carolina State football player and his wife $18 million. The former player, Robert Gaithers Sr., filed a complaint in 2019 after he was diagnosed with dementia. Gaithers claims the NCAA never warned players about the dangers of taking hits to the head. Following a civil trial that wrapped just last week, jurors awarded Gaithers $10 million and an additional $8 million to his wife, Deborah. But the verdict can be appealed, and the NCAA said in a statement they are, quote, prepared to pursue our rights on post-trial motions and on appeal if necessary, end quote. Still in Orangeburg, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division has identified a suspect in the SC State shootings on October 4th. The October 4th shootings left 1 dead and 1 seriously injured on campus. SLED released this photo of the suspect yesterday, but have not publicly announced the man's name. The agency wants to speak with him before any arrests are made on this case. Anyone with additional information on this man is asked to contact SLED.
Back here in Columbia, 2 people were arrested after an incident at Chuck E. Cheese this weekend. Tavares, McFadden World, and Kenzie Miller, both 19, have been booked into the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center. Witnesses say McFadden World pointed a firearm at 3 different people in the Chuck E. Cheese. Miller served as McFadden Ward's getaway driver and admitted that she saw him point the weapon. The Richland County Sheriff's Department says no shots were fired and no injuries have been reported. McFadden is charged with second-degree assault, kidnapping, and tampering with evidence, and 3 counts of pointing and presenting. He's currently being held on a $75,000 bond. Looking to Aiken County, new details have been released after 2 people were killed at a gas station in a shooting at North Augusta. An Aiken County coroner identified the victims as Jewel Harden and Thomas B. Lilly Jr. Both of the victims will be autopsied on Wednesday. Law enforcement shot at the suspected shooter at the scene. The outcome was not fatal. The suspect's name has not been yet released.
The South Carolina Department of Public Health says the total number of measles cases in the state has increased to 25. In response to the outbreak, the DPH is offering free MMR vaccines in the upstate. Today and tomorrow, the department's mobile health unit will be at the Inman Library, located at 50 Mill Street in Inman from 2 to 6 p.m. Next week, free vaccines will be offered from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Boiling Springs Library in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Back in DeSoto City, South Carolina's Department of Transportation announced the 2-notch road construction has been extended. The near $26 million project was supposed to finish this year, but now it's scheduled to end in summer 2027. SCDOT has been working the past 3 years to replace the 90-year-old bridge on U.S. Highway 1. For South Carolina residents, the project has caused confusion and delays because of lane shifts, traffic cones, and heavy machinery.
Highly annoying, doesn't seem like any progress is being made.
Closer to campus, University of South Carolina students living at Gateway 737 are waking up to blaring alarms and flooded floors. Our Osley Lewis talked to students and officials at Gateway 737 to get a full picture of what's going on.
Gateway 737, a brand new student housing and retail complex in Columbia, South Carolina. Having just opened its doors in August 2025, it comes with top-of-the-line student dining locations such as Chick-fil-A, Knowledge Perk, and Domino's. Surely a perfect living destination for incoming USC students, right?
As beautiful as this building is on the outside, it has some ugly problems on the inside.
Thank you, guys.
Gateway has been experiencing persistent issues with their technology, as sprinklers and water lines have been breaking, causing multiple units to flood, temporarily forcing some students to relocate to nearby hotels as construction to fix their units is underway. However, flooding wasn't the only issue, as fire alarms have also been a hot topic of discussion.
Oh gosh, I would say like a few times a week, definitely. Multiple times a day, not every day, but there's times where it's like 3 or 4 times a day.
It's pretty annoying, especially when it goes off like at 2 a.m. and stuff.
Senior Vice President Abby Hawkins admitted the alarms can be a nuisance, but insists they're necessary to keep residents safe during an emergency. For now, these problems remain a source of frustration for residents as management works to resolve these issues once and for all. For Carolina News, I'm Osley Lewis.
According to the USC Development Foundation, which owns the building, students impacted by flooding have been offered rooms in a nearby hotel while the department looks to fix the issues. After the break, what is the heat island effect?
And how could planting trees help with temperature control in Columbia?
Tonight on Carolina News, it's National School Bus Safety Week. Learn what technology South Carolina is using to keep kids safe at bus stops. Next, high school men's volleyball is jumping in popularity. We talked to one of South Carolina's top recruits about the sport's recent growth. And later, how to safely navigate the protein craze and other viral dieting trends.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Corinna Porter.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Frank. Our top story today, it's National School Bus Safety Week, a time to remind drivers, students, and parents about the rules that keep kids safe on their way to and from school.
Our Amanda Allen joins us live with how the state is working to improve bus safety and hold drivers accountable. Amanda?
Thanks, guys. That's right. I'm inside a bus here at the Lexington bus shop where today the State Department of Education and Department of Public Safety kicked off National School Bus Safety Week right here in Lexington, urging safety enforcement. Take a look.
Every day, over 340,000 students are transported to and from school in South Carolina on these big yellow buses. And every day, there may be dangers for children that ride them as well. The primary issue stems from drivers ignoring extended stop arms on school buses.
3,901 stop arm violations that occurred last year. Currently, we are already at 980.
To solve the issue, the state introduced better safety approaches, such as new collision control systems, more 360 stop arm cameras, and ID numbers on buses. These stop arm cameras are now on over 600 buses in the state.
Every new bus going forward will be equipped with that system, so that's the plan.
Officials say it's most critical to pay attention to bus safety as drivers when children are in the back, sides, and front of the school bus, because that's when bus drivers can't see them.
State troopers tell us that many of these incidents could be underreported, but bus drivers tell us that the cameras would improve safety measures and catch those breaking the law.
If these cameras help us do that, it's the best thing that could ever happen.
These cameras catch drivers blowing stop signs, illegally passing, and fines can rack up to over $1,000 with up to 6 points on a license. But for Margaret, her main focus is on caring for her kids.
You're not just there to drive them home, you care about them.
So officials and drivers ask that when you see those yellow lights and stop sign, to please stop to keep students safe on the road to school every day.
Troopers tell Carolina News that these newer camera systems clearly catch criminals and help prosecute them with video evidence. Live and in Lexington, I'm Amanda Allen, Carolina News.
Also relating to road safety in the state, you might experience major delays if you're traveling late tomorrow night. The I-20 westbound ramp to I-26 will be temporarily closed from tomorrow night at 11 p.m. until 5 a.m. Wednesday. Detour signs will be posted. Here's a look at the temporary route. Crews are working on part of the Carolina Crossroads project, a construction venture aimed at making 14 miles of I-20, I-26, and the I-26 corridor safer and more efficient. For more information on the Carolina Crossroads project, it can be found on scdotcarolinacrossroads.com.
And now, something drivers everywhere can be happy about. There's been a national drop in gas prices, falling 4.1 cents since Monday, and over 19 cents in the last month. And here in Columbia, the average has dropped 7.3 cents over the last week, with a 15.2 cent drop over the last month. The average price for the Soda City is now $2.62 per gallon. If you're looking for the cheapest gas station in Columbia, the Walmart on Burnell Road currently charges $2.35 per gallon.
Another reason to stay in the Midlands, the weather forecast is looking perfect for a quick walk outside.
Our Dakota Morris is live in the Weather Center. What's it looking like, Dakota?
That's right, guys. It is such a beautiful day for a walk outside. Great fall temperatures right now. It's about 79 degrees, which may seem a little bit warm for fall and for October, but that's just our high for today. It is going to start to cool down here soon as the sun comes down. We'll get into the lower 70s, upper 60s tonight, but you're probably wondering how much time you have left with this great weather, and maybe it's not that much. I'll have more on that coming up in just a minute. Back to you guys.
On Capitol Hill, we're 3 weeks into the federal government shutdown, and there's no end in sight as of now. Lawmakers can't agree on whether a stopgap spending plan should keep healthcare costs from rising. In fact, they can't even agree on whether to negotiate. Amy Kiley reports. Now
We need to end the shutdown.
At 21 days, the government shutdown is now tied for the second longest in U.S. history. Democrats say they want a funding bill that addresses Medicaid cuts and expiring Obamacare subsidies.
Tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles.
Republicans say they won't discuss that until Democrats pass their funding bill with no changes.
What exactly is there to negotiate?
The shutdown ties 130 years ago when congressional Republicans gave up about half the Medicare cuts they wanted in return for a balanced budget.
Newt Gingrich shut down the government in 1995 because he wanted Clinton to cut Medicare.
Clinton wouldn't do it.
We didn't let the fighting stop the negotiating. We also didn't let the negotiating stop the fighting.
The longest shutdown ever remains the one during President Donald Trump's first term. It holds the record of 35 days after Democrats refused to pay for a border wall.
Whatever it takes. I mean, we're going to have a wall.
He didn't get it. And when air traffic controllers started not showing up to work, the Republicans buckled on that.
Unions say this shutdown is hard on air traffic controllers, too. Pre-existing staff shortages have many working overtime now without pay.
You're allowing outside stress to work its way into the control room.
I'm Mimi Kiley reporting.
Here in South Carolina, people are still being affected by the shutdown. The Affordable Care Act is raising its rates across the state, which could affect health insurance for more than 600,000 South Carolinians. A bill designed to pay the federal employees and military working through the shutdown is scheduled to come later this week.
One thing the shutdown hasn't slowed down, South Carolina's election season. On Monday, early voting began across the Palmetto State for the upcoming municipal election day, which is November 4th. Sydney Bain, who is with the South Carolina Election Commission, says they're seeing large turnouts in the general elections, so they're encouraging voters to go out there and vote earlier. Not every municipality across the state has an election this year, but if your area does, in-person early voting is running on weekdays from the 20th till the 31st of October. Eligible voters may also send their vote through mail.
With October almost coming to a close, so is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This month aims to share the stories of domestic violence victims and help others in similar situations. Columbia Mayor Daniel Rickenman is hosting the 19th annual Mayor's Walk Against Domestic Violence at Page Ellington Park this Saturday. You can register with the code on the screen for $5. All proceeds will be donated straight to Sister Care, an organization dedicated to helping victims of domestic violence. This event comes about 4 weeks after the Silent Witness ceremony, which honored victims who lost their lives and families to domestic violence.
Moving from the street to the court, high school boys volleyball has gained thousands of participants in the last year. Our Tyler Perrone spoke with one of South Carolina's top recruits about the growth of the sport.
Lucas Helly is one of the nation's top prospects for collegiate men's volleyball. He's committed to Long Beach State, the defending NCAA Division I champs. But Helly wasn't always sure he'd be able to play in college.
Growing up, it was really hard just being from where I'm from, and there's not a lot of guys volleyball and it not being a big sport.
Recently, some big high school sports like football have dipped in participation, while boys volleyball has jumped in popularity.
The growth for volleyball is like this right now for boys.
That's Brad Wilson, director of men and boys volleyball at the American Volleyball Coaches Association. He showed me a survey from the National Federation of State High School Associations, which reported a 10,000 player increase in the last year alone. And this growth isn't just in places like California or Florida. High school programs have been popping up and thriving in South Carolina as well, especially here at Dorman High School in Roebuck,
where Helly and his teammates are looking to defend their state championship title after multiple years.
Dorman's program is ranked first in the nation for fall indoor teams by Max Preps.
3 state championships since my freshman year. We have won basically every game but 2.
But high school teams weren't even competing for a state championship in SC until it was added in 2022. Amy Boozer is an associate commissioner at the South Carolina High School League.
I think volleyball's always been intriguing to the boys. I was a volleyball coach. At my school, we didn't offer it, but it was always one of their favorite things.
South Carolina is one of 4 states that plays boys volleyball in the fall rather than the spring, which is giving boys other opportunities.
A lot of boy athletes, may not be inclined to do football, and then the other sports we offer are cross country and swim.
The sport's rising popularity doesn't seem to have one particular reason behind it either.
It's an instant hook.
I do think you're seeing a lot of your basketball student athletes that are enjoying it.
I just think it's like the relationships.
There are currently 29 states where boys volleyball is a sanctioned high school sport. The AVCA and other groups are working to sanction boys volleyball across the country, so that kids in all 50 states have a chance to succeed like Lucas and his teammates at Dorman. In Spartanburg County, I'm Tyler Perrone, Carolina News.
Dorman High School ended the regular season with an undefeated 26-0 record last week. Lucas and the Cavaliers start their road to the state championship this week, where they'll look to claim their 4th title in a row.
Up next on Carolina News, how you can make healthy choices and stay informed through potentially dangerous dieting trends.
We'll have all that and more after this quick break.
Hello, Gamecock fans. I'm Spencer Ball.
And I'm JP Barry. Welcome to Ball Don't Lie, SGTV's premier live sports show.
JP and I will be giving you our weekly insight every Friday.
This week on the show, a hot start on the diamond for the Gamecocks.
And later, the NHL's 4-Nation Face-Off and our college basketball games of the week.
Be sure to stick around for head-to-head pick'ems.
And without further ado, welcome to Ball Don't Lie.
Welcome to the Kennedy Greenhouse Studio.
If you are a person in the Carolinas with functioning legs and a football jersey, please report to Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte.
We watched Ice Bryce Young do his thing and lead the Panthers to their 2nd win of the season.
I think Matthew McConaughey and Dabo Swinney are very similar. I feel like maybe one day McConaughey could play Dabo in a movie.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that love seeing Clemson lose.
This is just what football is about, man. 2 teams that run the football, play defense.
That guy's Superman sometimes, dude. We've got to pick the Yankees, otherwise I'd be kicked out of my own family.
Yankees.
It's time. Is it time?
I think it's time.
This is Ball Don't Lie.
And South Carolina baseball is in good hands as the team has jumped up to a 5-0 start under new head coach Paul Mainieri. He took sole possession of 6 all-time for head coach wins in Division I baseball with Wednesday's victory against Queens, Spencer.
Yeah, it was a double midweek there.
Yeah, and this team, they've taken care of business against the teams they should.
Absolutely, and that's all you can ask for to start the season. Again, you see a lot of other kind of SEC or big teams play in some of these early season tournaments. South Carolina hasn't done that this year, but
they won't.
they won't. But they've done what they can, and they've won the games they're supposed to, as you said. And that's really how you're supposed to start the season. And really, what I think has been impressive for this team so far is the starting pitching. Yeah. Again, you're not going against the greatest of oppositions, but all starters on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday through 5 innings. Each of them had 9 strikeouts and gave up 1 earned run total.
Yeah, and, they're doing it without their presumed Friday night starter, as Eli Jersenbeck is going to miss the season with that stress fracture in his elbow. But you look at this rotation, and it's still really good, very talented for this week against Milwaukee, who really struggled last year. You got Dylan Eskew on Friday, Matthew Becker on Saturday, and Jake McCoy on Sunday.
Yeah, and in addition, these guys only go in 5 innings. The relief pitchers behind them have also been really good. 2 guys I'd like to shout out, Parker Marlett and Brandon Stone. Each of them having really successful appearances so far, not giving up any runs and throwing a combined 7 innings. So again, 8 innings. So really just good stuff there from those guys. And I think Mainieri's done a great job of using the transfer portal in already his first year. And they got really lucky. They could just pull a guy off the couch and he already slots in at 6th in all-time wins.
Yeah, if you could get anyone, you'd probably want to, Ray Tanner's parting shot was one for the ages. And, like we joked about, the strength of schedule, but, you just got to take care of business because once you get into SEC play, it's going to be non-stop ranked opponents. And just tough series week in, week out.
But Clemson's really does right around the corner as well.
But it does suck for just the fan and the students because, it's our senior year. You have 3 games against Clemson, one of them's at home. You have a midweek against North Carolina and Charlotte, and that's it in terms of games against other, kind of power conference opponents. But hey, if you blow teams out, there'll be plenty of games worth coming to because there'll be big-time top 10, top 15 showdowns in conference play.
Absolutely, and we mentioned one of Ray Tanner's final parting shots as athletic director. Here's another one. Gamecock softball has been really hot, earning their number 21 ranking with 11 straight wins, but that hire was getting Ashley Chastain Woodard from the UNC Charlotte 49ers to head the softball program, and really, she has been outstanding. She's a Gamecock alum, and this team's off to their best start since 1996. At the beginning of the season, they play in a bunch of tournaments, but they actually do have a couple wins over teams getting votes in the preseason polls like Virginia.
And North Carolina, they blew them apart with, 12 walks the other day?
They went down 3-0 in the first inning, rattled off 11 straight unanswered runs, and UNC didn't score again.
Yeah, it was insane. And they can surpass that start if they take care of business this weekend against BU, Fordham, and UNLV. And it's across town. You got Founders Park there by the river, and you got the name just completely escaped. We've done games there. Beckham Field.
Yeah. Beckham Field at Carolina Softball Stadium.
Yeah, of course. Well, there we go. That's South Carolina Softball Stadium. But yeah, like you said, it's been the portal. You have a trio of pitchers who have just been so good. Jory Hurd with a .25 ERA with 2 complete games already. Neely Lamb and Sam Gress as well, all pitching extremely.
Yeah, those last 2 are from Charlotte with Chastain Woodard.
When you hire a really good coach from a smaller school, they typically have some of their players follow along, and that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, and Chastain Woodard, they made the tournament, 3 straight years at UNCC, came here, had their best record, and I don't remember if it was ever in a long time last year, but really hit the portal well because they also got Quincy Lilio from Oklahoma. She was a freshman last year, batting .586 leadoff with a .727 on-base percentage. You'll take that whenever you can almost guarantee that you've got someone getting on base over half the time. That's a really good thing to have on your team there.
We're looking into it, and it's true.
It is true. And it's been a really good start for Gamecock softball. I think, we're going to learn a lot more about this team come SEC time because that is the cream of the crop. Right now, there's 13 SEC teams in the top 25.
That's pretty good.
That's quite good. That's just a few off the list, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're, receiving votes just outside the top 25. So again, softball, a really good start. But moving from the diamond to the ice, the NHL's Four Nations face-off concluded last night. JP, this was just an epic game.
It really was. Canada won it all. Perhaps the only Four Nations face-off. This was kind of like a fill-in between the return of the World Cup of Hockey and the return of NHL players to the Olympics starting next year. But man, it was just special. It really was to see all this go down, and while the U.S. beat Canada in the round-robin play, we saw last night that, all it takes is one great performance. That was Jordan Bennington in net. The St. Louis Blue, who won in Game 7 in TD Garden to win the Stanley Cup Final for St. Louis, stopped 24 shots in a row to win it for Canada when the USA had amazing chances.
Those saves in overtime, were outstanding. That one where he stretched completely and stopped the shot near side, it was incredible stuff. He really kept them in the game, and who else but Connor McDavid to put it away for the Maples?
Left alone completely in the slot because Adam Fox was just chasing the puck like a dingus. It's interesting to see the takeaway.
I'm glad you said dingus and not something else. That would.
But one of the biggest takeaways from this tournament is how good Jacob Slavin is of the Carolina Hurricanes.
Outstanding.
People kind of realize this is the best defensive defenseman in the National Hockey League, and the Hurricanes were like, how it feels to know you have Jacob Slavin signed for the next 8 years. And it was like, dude, yeah, this rocks because, that's what this tournament does. It shines a light on some of these players for, smaller market teams that get this international level, this international stage to perform. And, it's going to be interesting to see how Team USA runs it back for the Olympics. I don't know if Adam Fox will be there, but Connor Hallebuck played amazing in net. And you just had, you really
Brady
felt like
Tkachuk was everywhere.
Yeah, you felt like this was really the team, and then it wasn't. So, it'll be interesting to see where they go after this.
Yeah, you can't hang your heads too much. Again, you lost 3-2 to Canada in overtime. You really had a chance to go out and win it. But you also were missing Matthew Tkachuk for a large portion of the game. But really, it was just great hockey to watch. Sean McDonough masterclass. It was awesome. Really, it was a great environment, and I think hopefully they kind of keep these international tournaments coming, whether it's the Four Nations again or, like you mentioned, the Club World Cup. Like doing something to get the nations playing each other again is as much as possible. This was awesome.
Yeah, it was. All the games did really good in the TV ratings department. Yeah. We'll see where this final ranks. I'm sure it'll be high. And so, it gets the juice flowing because, there was nothing really to combat it. There was no football. There was no basketball. I mean, there's no baseball yet. It was the talk of the sports world, which is something we haven't seen in hockey since probably the Stanley Cup final between the Bruins and the Canucks back in 2012 when the Canucks blew up their city when they lost. That was pretty much what this was. It was USA versus Canada. But hey, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We've got college basketball coming up right after this break.